show once again. We promised you last week at the end of the show that we were going to bring back the biggest topics of the week. What was popular on the Salisbury News website, sbynews.com. The biggest topic around the entire country actually is crime. And today we want to concentrate on reality, what's really happening here on the Eastern Shore, and more importantly in Salisbury, because we've got a police chief claiming crime is not as bad as it is. We've got a guest here today, Mr. Mark McIver, who is involved with the Chamber of Commerce Crime Solvers Task Force. He's on the newly appointed Mayor's Task Force for the City of Salisbury, Crime Task Force that is. And he's also involved with Crime Solvers in a big way, and his family's been a victim of crime, and that's how he basically got started into getting all this information and pulling it together over many years. The cool part about this is Mark's numbers don't lie because he gets them from the FBI, directly from the FBI. And today we're going to go over these numbers. I want to introduce you to Mark McIver, who's a good old friend of mine, been around for quite a while in the Salisbury area. Mark, can you fill us in and tell us what we're looking at today? Because people are very confused, and today I think we can finally give you an opportunity to deliver information that isn't a 15-second news bite on a local television station. So please, it's your show. Take it over.
Well, thank you, Joe. Yeah, you're right. Crime is not a very simplistic subject, but it's not that difficult either when you get into it. My background, I'm an engineer. I'm a businessman. I run numbers all the time, and I analyze numbers all the time. So it was pretty interesting when I got involved in this. Now, I originally became aware of the crime problem when my son was absolutely brutally and randomly assaulted. The brutality, and since I've been in this crime subject, it's amazing how absolutely brutal that some of these crimes are, and how young the people, the perpetrators of these crimes are. It's a very scary thing. But when I first became a victim, a member of mine became a victim of crime, I turned to the Chamber, and we started a crime task force. I worked with Brad Belichico. He's been very supportive. The Chamber's been supportive on addressing this issue. So what we did was, the first thing was we went to the website and we started to dig out information that was available on the web. It was kind of interesting because if you pulled up some data, some websites on city data, you would come up with some very interesting statistics saying that Salisbury had a very, very high crime rate. And so we started to investigate that. That's where I had started. Now this next slide is what I took off of the internet the other day. Is from www.areaconnect.com. And anyone can go to that site on the website, on the internet. And when you see this, you're looking at some numbers here. On the far side, you have the national averages. On the near side here, you have the Salisbury statistics, which are the actual data. And then in the middle column is the adjusted data. What we do in the crime industry is adjust things by population, incidences per 100,000 population. And that's just the way the industry works. So if you look at the first row here, we're looking at, let's say, murders. We have the national average per 100,000 population here is 7. Now, Salisbury had 5. So you say, well, that's a little below national average. But wrong, because the national average, as you can see on the top here, is adjusted by 100,000 population.
Right.
So when you apply the adjustment, you're looking at a murder rate of 19.
Wow. Versus
7 national average. When I started to do these, Joe, I looked at these numbers and I said, well, violent crimes are 569 versus the national average of 553. I said, well, they're not bad.
Right.
But then I realized that I wasn't doing the 100,000 adjustment.
Right.
And since the population of Salisbury is basically 27,000 people, then what you need to do is multiply, it's almost by 4, whatever the raw data is, and you'll have it, and you'll be able to compare it to the national averages. So this is what we're looking at here. The areaconnect.com, and incidentally, this is based on 2006 FBI data. It doesn't. It's going up a little bit. Well, actually, it's going up a little bit each year, but it's pretty close to what it is now. Shows that we are above the national average in almost every category, except for, I think it's arson. I think we're below. So that's this is the kind of data that people are looking at who are investigating Salisbury. Now, you know, I've heard it said that the statistics are wrong and they don't apply, whatever. But I'm going to tell you that these statistics are used by, let's say, individuals who are thinking about relocating to Salisbury. If the hospital wants to attract doctors, let's say, to come to their medical staff, they're going to have, these doctors are going to sit down at the web and they're going to do a little bit of investigation. And then they're going to see that these statistics are very high for Salisbury, and they may decide, and I understand in many cases, they'll decide, I don't want to move to Salisbury because it's showing that it's too violent. Now we have a university here in the a college here, and parents are going to be looking at the crime rate to determine whether to send their children to Salisbury.
Right.
So people do look at the statistics, and the statistics themselves are a problem. Businesses are going to look at statistics. You know, I can tell you that if someone in your company is a victim of crime, or their family is a victim of crime, it's going to affect them, their performance, and it's going to affect the company ultimately.
Right.
Obviously, the businesses are not going to choose a high crime rate area to relocate.
Good point. It's an excellent point.
And now on the last point here, and there's many others, I'm sure, insurance companies. Insurance companies base their premiums on crime rates.
Right.
So if you want to get a car insurance, for instance, and you have a high rate of stolen cars in Salisbury,
right,
guess what?
Your rates go up.
Very good. Yeah, your rates do go up. So we're all paying the premium right out of our pocket for these high crime statistics. Now, moving on here, there's a lot of people have asked me, Mark, well, what are you talking about? How is crime categorized and collected? So, the uniform, it's a program called the Uniform Crime Reports. It dates back to the 20s. It was started in Chicago by a couple police chiefs, and it grew. And today it is managed by the FBI through an act of Congress. It's enacted also by the state of Maryland. They have standardized on the UCRs, the Uniform Crime Reports, in I think it was 1970s that they adopted those. And today the Uniform Crime Reports cover about 97% of the population of the United States.